Yo guys, this is just a test to try and see if I got the volume fixed on my stream, but look at this following the fair value gaps. I mean, we had this invert here that I shorted and made an easy 15 points off NQ, and had you just followed the fair value gaps, you don't see, look back, oh, you have one right here, and my entry is just right at 50% of the gap. Boom, you're in. You're risking you're risking 10 points if you start your risk above this candle that created the gap. And as soon as I see that it's rejecting, I usually bring it down to the actual gap, which would have been 72 off of it. So now you're down to 7 points risk. It would have almost stopped you out. Would have been within a couple ticks, but then pulled away again. And as soon as this thing's dumping below these, like a candle breakout, that's when I typically go break even, when I see the candle breakout pattern. And then I would have just targeted probably 15-20 points, which I would have been getting out in this area somewhere. And then look, this candle created another fair value gap with these three candles. Entry on the middle of that, risk above the candle that created the fair value gap, rejection, bring it down to the actual gap, never gets stopped out. Breakout of the candle is when you go to break even, which would have been somewhere in this area, and then make 15-20 points. Boom. I hope this explains my strategy. I mean, yeah, so obviously looking for shorts currently because we're respecting fair value gap. You could look at this one as being the next entry, somewhere around 40, and then you just trade it with a risk above the candle that created the fair value gap. As soon as you see rejection, you bring it down to the actual gap. You don't go off of these because, see, like this one, no, you're respecting this bigger one, so we're playing off the bigger move. These gaps, you'd be looking to invert them like this one on the ES here. You'd be looking for the invert fair value gap, and you can almost just, like, since you're respecting this bigger one, you could almost use that as a confirmation. Sell stop at the inversion level. You're technically not inverted until this candle closes, but when you're getting the rejection off of this, you can just sell stop this inverted fair value gap off of this rejection, or even trade the candle breakout a lot of times, because that's where you get the dump. The only reason you trade this invert is because you tested it, couldn't make a new high, you rejected making a new high, you didn't keep going, you did reject again, but as soon as you rejected again, it was like obviously going to invert once you were starting to break this low. So that's why I jumped in short on this one, because this fair value gap was getting obviously disrespected. So and then here we go. Here's the entry model I just talked about on NQ, coming into this fair value gap at 40. Actually not entered at the 50% yet, but that would be right above this candle's high. Anyway, I gotta get rolling, guys. I'm gonna leave this video up just so I can see if the sound sounds better later on. Trader Joe, peace.